Alright, devoted to Yahushua here. Blessings, shalom, saints. I said I was going to share my testimonies of the churches that I've left. So here's church number 2. I did the first video on why I left the first church, the Pentecostal church at Buen Pastor Concilio Latinoamericano in New Brunswick. And now I'm going to share where I went after that, which was Calvary Gospel Church in East Brunswick, New Jersey. It was a Christian Missionary Alliance church. The way it happened was a mentor of mine at the time invited me to go there after I left the Pentecostal church. He called me. He was, very sad about what happened, and invited me to join their church and the worship team. And I was already going to Calvary Gospel Church because they used to have a program on Fridays called Awana, and they used to have a lot of games and Bible quizzes. You had prizes. You got like fake money, so you can buy prizes depending on how good you did the Bible quizzes. It's pretty cool. We had camps that we went on, Bible studies, lessons, and there was open dialogue because they would teach and then we would discuss it. So it was cool in that sense. But by the time I left the Pentecostal church and I was maybe about 18 years old, Awana was done in that church for some reason. There's some history that I don't know about why it stopped, and a lot of the members that were involved in making the Awana program left the church for some reason. But nonetheless, I had a mentor there. He was a worship leader. He was a guy that invested into my life a lot growing up as part of the family, and he was a worship leader there. So he invited me to go, and in addition to join the worship team as well, and play like congas, maybe drums sometimes, and backup singing. So I did. Now the difference between the Pentecostal church and Calvary Gospel Church are like two extremes, because one side had extra rules and all these man-made doctrines, and then Calvary Gospel Church almost like decreased the standard, and there was a lot of liberty there. I remember the drummer was this girl, and she was like a gothic. She was into gothic music and gothic lifestyle, and just always negative, and just a lot of worldliness that was never addressed. There was no standard of becoming a musician or a singer. The standard was very small. I guess if you profess Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you were able to be on the worship team. But long story short, I don't have much bad to say about Calvary Gospel Church, other than the standard was low. They didn't really preach about being set apart from the world and the idolatries of the world and the pagan holidays, which none of the churches really touch on. Almost every Christian church thinks celebrating Christmas and Easter is fine, but even some celebrated Halloween. So anyway, but there was no youth group when I went, and there was only about 2 or 3 or 4 youth that were there since the beginning. They were brought up there, and then Steve and Marisa came along, and they kind of took the youth group under their wing, and I give them a lot of kudos. They created like a family. They had a lot of activities, fun activities, trips, home gatherings. And these things are very good things that till today, I embrace them, and I wish, we could begin to do those things. And then people started inviting their friends from school, from high school and middle school, and next thing you know, we had a pretty nice group size youth group, probably about 12 or 15. And just grew, you know, and we're like a big family. And just to make it short, like, I don't have much bad to say. Again, I mean, I wish we could have talked about holiness and talked about like being set apart from the world. You know, 1 John 2:15-17, lust of the eyes, lust of flesh, and the pride of life. I feel like I introduced more of that topic than anyone else did, even leadership. I brought in the way of the master, living waters, evangelism ministry, Kirk Cameron, Ray Comfort. I also brought EX Ministries, the truth behind hip hop, which, you know, our youth group was, you know, majority of our youth group was in that culture of hip hop and brought up in that culture of hip hop, and it was a stronghold, you know, that worldliness. And so I brought that, and that was like giving meat to a baby, you know, because a lot of them just, it was too harsh for them. But long story short, just the finances were not going well in the church. People were not tithing as much, I guess, and offerings were down, and they just couldn't hold the doors open financially. So there were many attempts. The pastor even did pastoring part-time, and, you know, yeah, picked up work, and it just didn't work. It didn't work, and the doors eventually closed down. And then people split. You know, everybody went their own way. I know me. I told the youth group, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not gonna be without a church for more than a week. And sure enough, I found a church within a week. Some people were upset about that. They thought that I didn't have any type of remorse. But I was just so zealous, and like, I'm not gonna be without a family. And some of the youth followed me to this next church I'm gonna speak about in the next video. But yeah, you know, I think my best experience at church was probably Calvary Gospel Church, and I wish I can get some of that back again. As far as the family-oriented community is concerned, the home gatherings, the openness to dialogue about issues, even though we didn't take that opportunity too much. We kind of danced around things and mostly kept focused on God's love and grace. And I think major issues were talked about, like abstinence, you know, and staying away from drugs. You know, these things were really emphasized on the youth, but it's like, it's not the whole truth. But, so that's it. Calvary Gospel Church. Unfortunately, the doors closed down, and it was sad because they owned that building. The entire building was bought. The land was theirs. And it's such a sad story, you know. Now I drive by, and it's ran, and now it's a St. Martha's, some type of Catholic church runs it now, and it's just sad, you know. Beautiful building, a lot of land. They did outreach, you know, 4th of July, people used to gather around in the grass to watch the fireworks, and we used to go out and hand out drinks and refreshments, and again, you know, preaching the grace, love gospel, probably not giving them the whole truth, but nonetheless, there was opportunities there, and it was just sad to see that go down the way it did. We had an AA group that was meeting on Friday nights, and a few people from there, maybe a handful, like 4 or 5, was coming on Sundays and coming to the services and really enjoying it. You know, they felt like it was a little untraditional, the way we did music and the way the pastor used movies to preach sermons. Anyway, like I said, I think the downfall would be the standard of holiness, which is going to be the majority of what I speak about on my videos. And but that was my best experience of all the churches that I've been to. Shalom, peace. Keep your eyes open. Let no man deceive you with vain philosophy and teachings and doctrines of men. In the name of Yahushua, amen. How do I stop this? Just press the red button.